Hey guys, I've been a full-time musician for over a year now, and I'm going to tell you the three big steps, the three big changes I made in my life to get me there within a year. I've been making music since I was a little kid. I sang in church. I joined a really popular rap group when I was about 15. Did that for about 10 years. Joined a funk soul band when I was like about 22. And then did full-time musicianship as a solo folk musician, which is now under the name, the moniker Shug Daniels. I made three big steps, three big changes in my life to get me there. But I definitely feel like the solo project, just because I had more control over it, that's kind of really where I flourished. The first step was I found a mentor. I found somebody who was either where I wanted to be or just closer to where I wanted to be. And I hung out with them. I made music with them. One of my buddies, Samuel Nobles, he's been a full-time musician for a lot longer than I had been. So I just hung out with him and we made music. We had a good time. We got some songs out. We put some music out. We had to great success. Some of my first couple, breaking thousand streams on Spotify, which no matter how you feel about Spotify, it just feels good to break 1,000 streams. I did that with him and hanging out with him and taking his advice and listening to him. And so that was a really big deal. I had another mentor, John Fay. We put a song out together. He's a little bit older than I am. He had been in a really big band called the Caulfields, which they blew up in Europe. He's from Delaware. I'm from Delaware. So I hung out with him and just listened to him and hung out with him and asked him for advice. It's like when you have a mentor, you can sometimes skip steps. You can skip making a lot of mistakes. I still think you should try all the things that you want to try. It doesn't matter. But when you have someone that you trust, that you really appreciate and respect, telling you, certain things work, certain things don't work. Music changes, the landscape changes all the time, but it is so incredibly helpful to have someone that you can go to and ask questions. The second thing that I did was I just started to hang out in more music spaces. I started to go to shows, hang out with musicians, talk to them at shows, go to open mics. I did all this stuff, and I know people think, sometimes I feel like with the internet, there's so much music that you can do from your home, which I think is really fun. But when it comes to booking shows and making really wonderful, beautiful, genuine connections, there's just nothing like being in spaces that artists and musicians hang out in. That's where some of my biggest, meeting other band members or meeting producers, that all happened. None of that happened online. All of that happened while I was at shows, whether it be my show or someone else's shows. If you want to go to a venue and you want to get booked at this big venue, go to the venue and hang out with the people, hang out with the bartenders, hang out with the booking agents, but talk to people. Networking is still extremely key in this industry. You can go to Berkeley, that's great, but if you show up to a scene and you don't never go out the house, you show up to a new city, it's going to be a lot harder than people who maybe aren't as good as you at making music, maybe their songs aren't as good, but they're always there, they're always showing love and they're supporting. Bands are putting together bills, they're going to think of those people first because they're always there anyway, and they're sweet and they're kind and they're friendly. So I definitely think, hanging out in spaces where other musicians and people was a really big game changer for me. And honestly, the number one thing was prioritizing music. I had a partner that wasn't as into the lifestyle of music. They really weren't excited about me being up late at night most weekends, which is, primarily when we do gigs, especially for the music that I was making at that time. So unfortunately, it didn't work. But but that's all right. I know that music is my passion. It was always going to be my passion. Music has always been my number one love. And it didn't feel right. I don't feel good when I'm not making music. So to try to be with someone who does not support me in that way, we were holding each other back. I'm not going to not chase my dreams. And there's somebody out there for them. And they did finding somebody. We stayed friends. So that was really lovely. The place that I lived in a really small town in southern Delaware, and there really wasn't a humongous music scene. And I felt like I had kind of risen to the top of that scene. But there really weren't any more opportunities for me. So, several years into realizing that, all right, I gotta get out of here, I moved to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia has a humongous music scene. It's got listener supported radio. Shout out to WXPN, which they started playing me on the radio. People started coming to shows. And I pretty quickly gained some popularity here. It's also like a hub, so I can jump on a train, I can jump on a plane, and I can get to other cities, and I can, go and tour, and that's been really, really lovely. And even my day job, I would never have a day job where I would have to be up late at night, because that's where gigs are happening. I moved to Philadelphia and I became a barista, and I worked, and I purposely picked, and I couldn't understand why, I purposely picked the slower days. So I would still be making money. I would still be getting, minimum wage and making tips. I worked part-time, but when I got there, I'd bust out my laptop and I would be sending out emails to get gigs. I'd be sending out set lists to my band. I'd be finishing writing songs, whatever I needed to do. But I knew that I could not have a job that demanded all of my time and attention, because I needed that time and attention to chase my dream. And within, I think within 2 years of moving to Philadelphia, I was able to quit my little part-time gig. And it's been wonderful. I'm having a great time. I do still have a couple side hustles, because, you know how it is. But those aren't necessarily to pay my bills. Those are more than anything to just supplement some more income and investing. I love investing. I'm a big investor. If anybody's interested in investing for musicians, drop it down. Just say finance or investing down in the comments, and I'll start making some. I just paid off my student loans, which was really cool. And I always, always, always have money in the bank. And it's not about being rich. It's just about, this is a job that we love, but no one's going to come to you and try to start you a 401k or anything like that. But there are ways that we can do it. So, and I talk to all my music friends about it. So yeah, those are my 3 big things that changed the game for me. Finding a mentor, hanging around music scenes, and then prioritizing music in my life. Those are the 3 big things. I'd love to hear from you guys. I love community. I think this is a way of the future. I'm not coming in here to be like, I did it. I'm coming here to share my knowledge with you, because I was able to figure out something that felt so crazy and weird and hard and difficult for a long time. So yeah, I'm just going to throw this up unedited. I love you guys. Thank you so much. If you like this channel, you like this stuff, please subscribe. I want to share all the things that I know with you, because that's how we grow, baby. All right. You guys take care.